Hello guys, Pete Dahlgren, building the Mirror Smiles F86. I'm starting the wing here today, and I'm going to show you some things that need to be kind of addressed here a little bit. As you can see, I have mounted the number 1 rib in the wing tube and actually have set it down into this, and I have another one sitting aside. Now what I'm doing here is I am aligning all of this to be, this really, it needs a very careful alignment into where these parts go, because this has to be glued and laminated. And the best way to do that I'm seeing is actually put it in the tube, which sticks out quite a ways, but you want to set it around in here. Now I will clamp it down like so just to hold it, but we're going to use a series of clamps. We're going to glue this part in, but we're going to make sure that it's on here with the, we got to make sure that it's absolutely and perfectly aligned in the tube. There can't be any gaps in it or anything like that. This is actually critical. Now I told you guys basically about this area here. Well, I made this brace in here and I glued it. That's why I did not cut this piece on here, but we will not cut anything else off that to do this. This is just simply part of the fuselage, and I'll fill that full of balsa, and then when I sheet it, it'll be like one piece. Now, I think one of the biggest things is that the alignment is very critical on any of these wings. You're going to need quite a few clamps on this to do it, and the main thing is because these spars that are in here and all these parts come in, even though you have the feet and the jigs, you don't want to totally, you want to make sure that when this part comes out, that all of this has no gap in it. And so I'm going to glue it off camera. You guys know this drill. And there's also another plate that goes right here that needs to be in there. It's a very thick part. The wing is extremely well built, and you'll notice I have all the wings, the spars, all the stuff, and everything's setting on the side. Make sure that you're looking at the relationship on A and B. And I'm going to glue these together, and if you got to do a little bit of trimming, so be it. But from what I'm seeing so far, there's not very much. I've only had to trim maybe 5 or 6 parts in this whole airplane so far. And there's going to be a considerable amount of sanding, but a lot of it is blending a lot of the pieces and parts in here and actually getting this so they're flat. They were really good about leaving some of this stuff long. Don't try to match the insides. Don't worry about the out. They did this on purpose so that you have something that, so when you do use your shaper in your longboard, you can actually blend all this out and the little bit in here to get a really nice edge on that. You're going to have a lot of gluing area, and it sands off very easily, very fast. It's going to be surprising to you, but don't let any of this fool you. This all gets cut, and I'll show you with a little bit of a straight edge what I'm talking about here, if I can find it. It's like in this area right here. When you look at it, you're going to have, there's a gap under here, quite a bit, but by the time you put another straight edge to it and you put it down, you're going to see that it's actually to the bottom of this, and those will sand completely flat. So it's not a big issue. However, with the 2-piece fuselage, you got to be very careful with it, because of the one thing is when you get ready to sand, you're going to be stopping a joint right here, which the actual scale location for it would be about here, but it still breaks in half just like the real one. And so we're going to hide this as much as possible, and we'll put the actual seam about right in here where it's supposed to be. It's only like an inch off. And no, you can't build it that way. You can't put it in the other location without a lot of modification and making a lot of new parts. So we're not going to do it that way. Basically, make sure that you have all this stuff and it's straight and true and looks good and this and that and what have you, and you should be just fine. But anyway, the first parts we'll build actually on the airplane. We're going to glue this, and once this is done, all these laminations are done, then we're fine. But anyway, guys, this is how I'm seeing to do it. Another point of interest to do on this is the landing gear comes up into here. This is going to get cut out, obviously, and the wheel will sit in here. It's only about a 4-inch wheel. And the one thing is, I'll get a tape here, and like I'm saying, in the center of that, you can go a 5-inch wheel. You don't want any bigger than that. But to the center of that is about 2.5 inches. I'm guessing, actually, yeah, it's approximately 2.5 inches if you look on here. So a 5-inch wheel is as big as you want to put in there. And it's more than enough. Right? Even a little bit smaller would be better. And there's plenty of different deals. I'm seeing a lot with Electron and all that, because you're going to have brakes and all that. But we're going to want to box this in and beef this up in a little bit in here, but not overkill it. And so like I said, now we're getting into the parts where we're getting to the point now where we're going to start building into this airframe all the stuff that it's going to need to basically just make it awesome, even stronger than it already is. It doesn't move. I mean, it is rigid as hell. It doesn't move, it doesn't flex or anything. So at this point, we're good. We're just adding certain pieces and parts to make other pieces and parts of this fit better. And the wing is absolutely critical that you build it flat. And it actually, we're going to start by gluing this. We do one, then we'll do the other side. But I'm going to build one, and then we'll keep on moving forward. We're going to slow down on a lot of the build time right now, guys. This is about a week into this right now. And the rest of this is sanding and fitting in this. So I'm going to show you those steps, but there are a few little things that need to be changed and moved around in order to make the sheeting a better thing. It'll take approximately 60 sheets of 3/32 wood to actually do this airplane. It might even be a few more, but there's some blocks we're going to have to get and everything to start doing this. But I will not cut this fuselage off until we are actually sheeted down to here. So if you have not glued your airplane down to the building board, you really need to consider doing it. Taping it and holding it down is there's nothing underneath that you want to be doing right now underneath that airplane. You want to get this thing straight and true, and if you look down it's perfect. And you want to make sure that all these parts and all this hardware and stuff that you got, you want to start putting that in now. And some of the wires and stuff like that, I'm going to make my own, and I've done it. And the reason for it is because I want to be able to take and disconnect it here. But I'm going to be running 3 wires on that side. I'm going to be running wires for lights to the back. There's a lot of different things that go in there. It's not real heavy, but this all needs to be fiberglass sleeve because the engine sits right there. You have an exhaust pipe that's right there. Also, when we get this sheeted, we need to come back in here and cover this in aluminum tape into these areas right in here. These 2 bays will get completely covered to deflect any heat or any flame or anything like that. So there's a lot going on here, and The one thing I want to emphasize, take your time. I'll be back in a minute with another video.